Hi guys, welcome. No worries, Sherry, thanks for dropping in to say hi. Not a problem. Hi everyone, hi Abby, welcome guys, come in. We have lots of work to do today. We're going to finish the hair. That's going to take us a little while. And for those that are new, my name's Belinda. Welcome to my channel. This is week 2 of our Troll Girl Colour Along. This image is by Karron, and you can get it at the moment with a discount. It's heavily discounted. So you can get both versions, a line art and a grayscale version. I'm using the grayscale version here on Etsy, and also if you use the code Faithful Girl in capitals, you will be able to get a discount. Hi Shelley. It's heavily discounted after the this month, which is January 2020. The image will still be available in the store, but there won't be a discount. So the discount is only for this colour along, or for during this colour along. Hi Dorothy, hi Zeely, hi Nana, welcome. Hi Debbie, hi guys, hi Janine. No worries Dorothy, we'll be here. So Shelley, you're not frozen anymore? Oh no, Debbie, I hope that you feel better. But you're starving now, right? Yes, hello Shadow. Hi Gracelyn. Hi Rosemary. Yep, she's saying hi. Hi Eva. Woohoo! Shelley. Oh, lucky they didn't break off, eh? Hi Cassandra. Welcome. Shadow. I'm not saying welcome to you. No. I'm a bit croaky today. I've had really bad asthma with all the smoke. And, yeah. Hi Beth. Welcome. If I've missed anyone, I'm sorry. I hope I can grab you at some point. Just yell at me, you know. Not you. I'm talking to them. Goodness me. Noisy butt. Say hello. No. Ignore us. Get off my camera. Goodness me, you make everybody dizzy, including me. You're right in my light there. Your fluff is everywhere. So how is everybody, apart from Shelley, who was freezing? Hi Selena, welcome. And hi Mum too. Oh no, Nana. All these lovely pets have been passing away, and I hope that doesn't happen. It's just too sad. Let's hope it turns for the best. No, we'll stay happy. We'll stay happy. So I played around with the hair, and I decided that I was going to do black hair and with purple through, but I played around, and I think I'm going to do purple, and well, it's actually not purple, it's more like a reddy purple colour, and green hair. Good, Nana. Mine is 30. Actually, I'm not sure what it is today, Shelley. Let me just check my weather today here in Australia. With my coffee asthma and all. All right. It's only going to be 22 today. Quite a nice day. 22 is let me just check in Fahrenheit. I know how to do it. It's somewhere here. How do I change it? They've changed the app. Oh, here we go. There we go. 62 Fahrenheit. So, nice day today. Some clouds, not too hot. And then we get stinking hot again on the weekend. Yay! Very cold. Very, very cold, Shelley. No, it does get cold here. We do have areas in Victoria here that snow. But not like what you're saying. It is, that's right. Nice shorts weather. It's t-shirt weather, that's for sure. It's not hot. The fires are going still. The map looks a lot better than it did. I can show you my weather app here, my warning app. So last week this was all orange, which was all like basically run for your lives. And it has slowed down a lot. We've got a lot of smoke warnings, and there's still a few fires going, but it has slowed down slightly. So that's good. Ooh, that's cold. You know, when I think of things being that cold, it reminds me of that movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Is that the movie? Where the ice comes over Jake Gyllenhaal. Is that the movie? Anyway, that's what it reminds me of. Yes, Shelley, it does. But, you know, unfortunately, there's still stupid people around. Like, we've had a post going around, a woman took a photo of a guy who just threw a cigarette butt at his window. Like, you know, lit cigarette butt, just out it goes. It's just stupid people that do stupid things. And they've got arrogant, you know, personalities. They just, I don't care, it's not my problem, you know, type of attitude. And it's just wrong. People just need to think about others and think about their consequences to their actions sometimes. I know, it's just stupid. I agree, very stupid. Hi Andrea, welcome. I know, it's wrong. It's actually illegal to smoke in the car here in Australia, so but anyway, that's just the way people think here. Too laid back. Hi Kelly, welcome. Well, Shelley, you might have to get out there and get some ice for supper, because, you know, you're going to starve. I'm just sharpening my pencils up here, guys. So I've only picked a couple of colours. Oh, this is scary. Is it scary having only a few colours? I like it. let's just sharpen them up. I've got black and white. I've got this colour called Parrot Green. I'm not sure why, but this pencil has gold writing and it looks kind of strange. See that? It doesn't have Prismacolor Premier on it either. It just says Prismacolor. I don't know what the difference between this one and the others are, but it's different. Anyway, that's Parrot Green. And then I've got some Peacock Green. Oh. Alrighty, Peacock Green, and I've got Black Cherry and Mahogany Red. So they're kind of red, purples with red in them, more red than purple. I don't know, more red than blue? I don't know, whatever. They're red. So we're going to do these colours today. I'm going to put a board under my work so I don't push down on my paper. And we're going to get started. Use them much. I know, look at them. They're tiny. Oh dear, find your pencils. Now, I'm just checking my chat, making sure I've collected everybody together. Actually, that happened to me. I was doing my pencil swatch charts and dang it, one pencil missing in my Polychromos, and I ended up finding it in my Holbein set because Pablo, Polychromos and Holbeins are very similar in the way that they look. There's a line, gold line at the end of them, so yeah, it got mixed in with them for some stupid reason. They are, aren't they? Mesmerizing. Alright, so what I want to do is, because we're adding a little bit of this purple red colour in here, I want to just add a little bit of this to the eyebrows. Just going to add a couple of flicks in here. Just so we can see a little bit of that colour through here. Just flicking it out and through, and just on the ends here I'm just going to add a few flicks of this through as well, so we can see it in her hair. So that was Black Cherry. All right, so we're going to get started. My idea is that we do these plaits in her hair green, and then we do the twigs in her hair here with the same browns we used in the skin, but we'll do that next week. But for now, we'll make sure we leave those sections out. And then for the rest of the hair, I want to do a purplish, reddish brown. A bit of a combo. Fashion coloured hair. Hi, Anna. Oh, no problems. It actually looks kind of light here under this light because there's light reflecting on it. It's actually quite a lot darker than it is under the camera here. I don't know if you saw the one that I scanned is a little bit closer to the exact color. But yeah, let's zoom in and have a look at this hair. Alright, we'll break it down into little pieces. So hopefully everybody gets it. Now, I'm going to do black first, and I'm just going to mark the hair that is going to be green first. So I'm just going to mark around that area. There's a bit of hair coming over her face, which I don't want green, so I'm just gonna, and that bit behind is going to be green. This may get a little confusing, but if I mark it, we'll be able to see it better. So it's like there's hair coming behind and over the top of it that's not going to be green, is what I'm trying to explain here. It's not really coming out of my mouth that way, but that's what I'm trying to explain. So some of these bits here are going to be red, like these hair flicks here, but this part behind here is going to be green in here and down in here and all down here into the plait. So I just wanted to mark that out. So I've just drawn it in. Okay, I think I've marked around all of the bits I want green. Now coming down to this part might get a little tricky. Just making sure I get all of the hair that's sort of coming out of the plait. I'm using firm pressure here too. With hair I generally use firmer pressure. Now I'm thinking that that bit there would be, it's kind of straggly looking, isn't it? That bit there. I think that's pretty good. I might actually make this bit here green too. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I've just marked it out with a black pencil. Alright, who did I miss? Kimmy. Kenny. Hello, lovely peoples. Cassie, hello. Welcome. No, this is black. Oh, black, 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 black. Okay, and now I'm going to use the black to mark out my shadow parts of the hair. So I'm just going to flick using firm pressure from my shadow areas, which are already marked out because this is the grayscale one. So as I come down here, it might be a little bit easier to explain. So I flick just some lines from one side of each section and flick back towards the other side. So flicking from the shadow section and then back down. Shadows. It's actually a little dip in that one, so I'm going to mark that in. Flicking from the shadows down and then back up. Down and then back up. So we've left like a highlight patch in the middle of each of those little sections of hair. Tiny little bit there, and then dropping down here. I'm going to do flicks in the darker section, so in the dips of the hair. So then we have a dip, a highlight, a dip, and a highlight. Okay, so that's the black done for that section. Hi Amanda. Thanks Kenny. I know that it's going to be difficult, the skin, for some people, especially if you haven't done a project like this before. But keep trying. Keep trying. Oh, Shadow's talking to the birds. I've got peacock green this time. And I'm going to follow the same lines I just did. Breaking my pencil. And flicking out towards the middle. Need my brush. I'm just skipping that bit of hair on the top there because that's going to be red over the top. And just following the same lines I just did before. This time I'm going to just come out a little bit further and start to come into the white areas a little bit more. You'll be able to see that down here a bit more where there's more white space. So I'm just filling in the area now, coming in a little bit further. Still leaving a highlight section in the middle. Just making sure too that you don't have the lines that you do flicking out and up, that they don't all look straight across. So when you're flicking your section of hair, flick longer ones and shorter ones so that it's not all in one length like that. You want to be able to sort of stagger it a little bit. Because then you'll get more texture. If we just keep doing this, it's just not going to look right. If we're doing short hair, maybe, but because we're doing nice long hair and we want to have a nice highlight in the middle of it, we try to stagger the lengths of the flicks. So some are longer, some are shorter, some come in between the black lines, and some go directly over, building up the colour and texture. Now I actually think I think that looks good. I'm just working out hair sections there. Got heaps of hair to work on, so plenty of room for practice. May not look like much yet, but it's going to get there. All right. Hello, Helen. Welcome. Yeah, Shelley, that's the very first official colour along I ever did. The Rowan Fairy. This is Parrot Green. Parrot Green. I'm going to repeat this same process and break my lead, of course. Flicking out, and now I'm coming into the middle of those sections as well. So flicking up and coming through the middle a bit as well. Down, up, down, up, down, up. This is going to be a lot quicker than the other colours because there's less area to fill. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay. Now we're going to finish it off with white. Hi Linda, welcome. Who else popped in? Well, I had my head down for a second. So funny. It's like only a minute and then next thing you know there's like 50 people there. Just, yeah. I was just thinking that when I was saying it. I'm like, maybe I should stop saying flicking up and flicking down. You'll be dreaming about it. Flick, flick, flick. So just get a piece of scrap paper and just flick, 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 flick. Little ones, long ones. Alright. What was I up to? White. Up and down. Alright, white. I'm going to come in between the lines that I haven't put any colour in, and I'm just going to mainly concentrate on these, breaking my pencil again, on these lighter areas. Oh dear me. Just trying to get rid of any furry lines that I may have. And just adding a little bit of a lighter colour into the middle of each of these parts so that we've got our little shiny section. Gives us the illusion that the hair's bending and curving. Okay. I've washed out some of the darker colour, so I'm just going to come back in with the peacock green and just do some more flicks from those shadows out, making sure we've got plenty of shadows. Flicking up and down. Done. And make sure I get plenty of depth in there. And just cover over any of the wishy-washy parts of it. Try and keep it nice and bright if I can. So that was our green. Looks good, huh? Looks good. Hi Victoria, welcome. Fastest flicker in the West. Alright, now let's go to the other side here. Starting with black again. I probably should have started with this side because now I'm going to be rubbing my hand over that. Oh well. Let's work out where this plat's going to start. I think this is a hard one. I kind of want it to go up. I guess if her hair wasn't laying over, it would start it up there too, but I'm thinking this is sort of flicking out. That's fine. I'm just working it out. I'm gonna put black lines where I think the green should start. It's going to be slightly higher on this one unless we blend it out to the other colour. I didn't think of this. Let's have a look. Definitely have to make that green. And I think we need to add another green section because I want it to kind of be a little bit more even. So make that red. Let's stop it just there. So if you want to follow those lines, you're welcome to follow those. And I think we might have to just add that a little bit in there. To the green, just to kind of make that section look a little bit more even. Does that look a little better? A little bit more even there. It's not quite up as far, but it's going to look slightly more, yeah, I think I like that. Alright, cool. Oh, who's talking about food? What? Oh, food's always good. Let's go back in with the peacock green. I'm just going to make sure I've filled in a little bit of colour up here. Try and even that up a bit. And the parrot green. And then a little bit of the white through there. And just coming back to the parrot green, the peacock green, just to add a little bit more depth. Okay, I think that's just going to even it up a little bit more. So when we get to this side, you'll see what I mean. Oh wait, go back to black. I made broccoli and cheese soup. Ooh. Sorry, not sure. Snowman food. Are we making you hungry, Shelley? No, you're always hungry. Shadow's always hungry. Black. Trying to separate some of these. I'm gonna have that one flick around, I think. You can kind of make it go where you want to make it go. This plait doesn't like me today. Can't figure out where it goes. I want to leave that bit of hair there as red. Just coming around that. Let's mark out the rest of it before we try and do flicks. Otherwise, I'm just going to get lost. Lost in the moment. Just give me cheese and bread and I'm happy. I love cheese and I love bread. So bad for me. I get the worst indigestion from bread and pastry. Ugh, I don't even bother anymore. I love it, but I can't handle the consequences. Sometimes bread's not too bad. Toast is terrible. Alright, now I've marked out that. I can see a little bit better where I'm going. Come down here. It looks like all of this is going to be green, so I don't need to mark it out as such, but I will come around those chunkier parts of hair so that we can see the individual sections. That would be my phone bleeping away. My pencil's got blunt because I keep breaking it. Of course. Oh, potatoes are good. Roast potatoes are good. And roasted carrots, especially burnt roasted carrots. Still using black, I just had to sharpen it because I keep breaking it, you know. This is where my pencils go. Into my sharpener. My froggy eats them. Alright, coming back in with peacock green. Following the same direction the hair's going. Wait, no, I didn't want to do that. Where's my mono eraser? He's dirty. Just give it a clean. Don't do what I did. I want that red, so let's get rid of the green out of there. I'm skipping that bit. There we go. That's going to be red. All the way to the bottom of the jar. Peanut butter add. Speaking of peanut butter, I love peanut butter. I have to be careful with peanut butter. It's one of my addiction foods. Sorry guys, off camera there, my bad. Oh, that's frustrating, isn't it? I'm sorry. Now I've done that, I want to add this bit here in green as well. It deserves some green. Just adjusting things as I go. It deserves green. This is green too, I think. Yep, I think it needed that a bit down here. Okay, I've got the parrot green. Got a little less to cover now, so it should be a little quicker. Peanut butter. Do you know who else likes peanut butter? Nani loves peanut butter. It's one of her things that she just would eat the whole peanut butter jar if she got to it, I think. It's so funny though, you give her some peanut butter and just watching her smack it up against the top of her mouth trying to get it out because it's thick. It's quite cute, and she just sits there for ages. There's a bit of peanut butter. We bought a product called a Kong here in Australia. It's a animal dog toy products, and we stick peanut butter inside it, and she pushes it around for hours trying to get the peanut butter out of it. It's amazing. Funny to watch. Oh, Vegemite's pretty good. Oh no, don't do that. You'll put people off forever. Am I doing white? Vegemite on toast with lots of butter and only a smidge of Vegemite spread over. Hardly any. It's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe I'll have to make Vegemite toast live one day and show you how it should be made. It's just like having salt on toast, I guess. Vegemite is salty. My happy little Vegemite, as bright as bright can be. Just going back over this side where I added in those green sections, doing white in the highlights and just flattening out any tooth that was left, and then coming back in with the peacock green. Oh, Vegemite with melted cheese on it, yes, yum. My husband doesn't like Vegemite or peanut butter, actually. It's funny, isn't it? I really like jam, but I struggle with bits of fruit. I don't like dried fruit, like fruit bread or fruit cake or anything like that. I can't handle it. I don't know why. I can't handle fruit in yogurt. I have to get yogurt that's got pureed fruit in it. Just don't like the bits. It kind of freaks me out having mixed textures, I think. It's the same with jam. Yeah, I think this side I've got less green, less white, so I'm just going to go back in and a few more flicks of white through there, and go back into this one and add a few more flicks of the peacock green through, just to even it up a little bit. That's a bit better. Maybe a little bit more black in this one. Adjust it how you would like it. If you want it lighter, then go lighter. Alright, now green hair done. I'll just zoom out a little bit. Pretty. And I've tried to even it up as much as I can up here. So yeah, it's kind of like maybe if I move the camera a little bit. I know that looks blue on your screen. It looks kind of cool like that too, but it's actually too blue. It's actually green on my screen. like green. Let me see if I can get better light on it. Isolina's screen looks like it's blue. It does look blue on your screen. It's green. It's I don't even know how to explain what kind of green it is. It's definitely green. You guys get peacock green and parrot green and put them together and see what it looks like. But yeah, obviously we've got black in there as well. All right. Now, just so I can get these sections around the plait done and we can see where I was going, I'm going to just use black again to create my valleys and mountains, my curves in these pieces of hair here. Where you can clearly see I've skipped over. So you can see what I'm trying to do. Confuse you all. It's my job. Really? Sure. I'm really sure it is. Alright, that was black, and now I've got black cherry. Oh, I don't like banana. Look, I used to like banana, but I had an incident when I was pregnant and I can't handle bananas anymore. Ugh. I don't even really like fake banana flavor. Like, not great. So we're doing the same thing. We're flicking down and up. Down and up. It's really quite dark. And then we've got mahogany red. It just kind of got a bit of purple to it, doesn't it? And then let's just get rid of the blunt end. What was this? What's one of our iconic foods? Vegemite, are we talking about? Vegemite's Australian. Don't ask me the origins of it, it's just been around forever. Just using white for the highlights again. And back in with the black cherry. hope we can see that through there. Let's do the front one here. Oh, hi Pat. Thank you. A Vegemite. Vegemite is beef and yeast extract. I think it's beef yeast extract with vitamin B and it's black. It's black. See, Vegemite. B1 essentials for some brain function. B2 supports your nervous system. B3 essential for energy release. Folate helps fight fatigue. Just trying to see if the ingredients were on here. Oh, and made in Australia since 1923. Concentrated yeast extract. Vegemite. This is plastic. These are little shopping things that we had here in Australia. Minis, they call them. No, I think beef extract is Marmite. Oh, Bonox. Got my black again. Yes, the strange cultures here. Strange things we do. No, we don't make no, we don't do that. It's just like salty goodness. It's just so hard to explain. But I used to put it in my kids' vegetables, like to add a little bit of salt to it. Mashed veggies with butter and milk and Vegemite. I know, strange, huh? But so good. No, it's not. Oh my gosh. It's so hard to explain. I've got black cherry. It doesn't taste like meat or beef. It's not. I don't think it is beef extract. I think it's just yeast. I'd have to go grab my actual jar of Vegemite and have a look. Shall I? Shall I go grab it and just give you the ingredients? I think it's just yeast extract, and I don't know why it's black. Is what her hair coming over her face? Yeah. So this bit is the shadow is that long piece of hair, and this shadow is this shorter piece here, and this bit here I've just made hair. Okay, so Vegemite, I put it on toast. I do hot toast with heaps of butter, and then you just like do a really thin spread of Vegemite. And you eat it, of course. Hang on a sec, I'll go grab the jar. Alright, here we go. Vegemite. This is a big jar. And it's got yeast extract from yeast grown on barley and wheat, salt, mineral salt, malt extract from barley, colour, flavour, and obviously all the vitamin Bs. There you go. It's just yeast extract. Vegemite. Can't see the thing there, but this is it. And it's like black. And Vegemite has a distinct flavour, smell, everything. Vegemite. It's made by Bega. And one day they decided to mix Vegemite with chocolate, and I said, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Gross is all I'm saying. That jar is 560 grams. It's a big jar. And I only brought that about a month ago, so we have it a fair bit. The kids have it on toast, sandwiches, things like that. I've got mahogany red next. And I really like it. It's yummy. Let's add some white. Oh, hang on a second. Sorry about that, guys. That was my postie. He came to bring me some shampoo I ordered because I ran out. So that was Vegemite. What have I got? Black cherry again. And there we go. Hair. Looking good. Well, it's not like taking vitamin B tablets or anything. It's just a little bit of vitamin B. Whoever said it was how do you even say it? Brewers yeast? I don't know. We're a beer country too. We have lots of beer here. What Prisma pack? I didn't buy a pack, actually. I brought them all separate. They're all individual ones. But yes, I would assume they'd be in the 150 pack. Whoa, $36? I think this cost me like maybe $6 for a big jar. Peanut butter and Vegemite are expensive in big jars. It's your excuse. Well, I have all of the coloured pencils, so there's 150 pencils in the set, so I have 150. Alright, let's do more hair. It's starting to come together. I'm going to turn it upside down. Upside down, upside down. Get rid of my Vegemite. It's in my way. Using black again, I'm going to do my sections. The reason I like to draw out the sections is because it actually gives a bit of depth behind them. Separating them a little bit and adding shadows. I think Nani's upset because the postie came and she didn't get to come inside. I'm just going to go around and just draw around all of these little sections of hair. I ordered more shampoo from Function of Beauty. A couple of weeks ago, and I'm dying to use it. I was like filling up my shampoo bottle with water, trying to get the suds out to wash my hair with. That's how low I was. Brewer's yeast. I can't say it. Brewer's yeast. Is that right? I just zoomed in a little bit for you so you could see a bit better. I know people say it was weird that we eat beetroot. Beetroot is on a lot of our burgers. And someone was talking to me saying that they thought that was weird. You know, beetroot is this colour, this purple colour. And if you have a barbecue without beetroot, then it's not an Aussie barbecue. I know that may seem strange. You do? Kelly, are they driving to you because of all the fires? Do you know what we saw last night? We're in Victoria and we don't get fruit bats here. We get normal bats. But we saw a fruit bat last night, so it's weird. They're just, animals are just all over the place. They don't know what they're doing. They're very confused. Fruit bats tend to like the more humid hot weather. We have had a lot of humid hot weather here though recently, but it's not, normally it's quite dry here. Probably the last 2 summers it's gotten humid, more humid down this side. Hi Loretta. Upside down again, sorry. Marking around all of these dark areas. And let's fill in some flicks. Sharpen my little pencil again. I'm just going to try to sharpen the lead though, because I'm wasting my pencil here. I'm wasting it, darling. Going away. Let's flick. I'm going from the roots up. This section here. Down. Up. Down. Flicking. Again. Oh, look at that. She's starting to come alive already. So we're creating this really nice highlight section all across the middle of these little parts. Take your time. Hair is one of my favorite things to do, actually. Because it's kind of mind numbing and relaxing. A little bit of, I don't know, a zen moment. Wax on, wax off. Flick here and flick there. Flick up and flick down. Mr. Miyagi. Flick down and flick up. Really? Hair is cool. Just relax. You know what I think it is sometimes with hair is that I think I get too impatient and I just want it done. And the hair is usually the part that is the largest on a portrait. So when you look at it, you're like, do I have to do that? So you can see I've left little gaps where all my highlights are. And that's our stick coming out of her hair there, so I want to miss that a little bit. Kind of dreadlocky type hair, isn't it? Actually, dreadlocks would have looked cool on her too. Alright, I think that's enough of that side. Let's go to Black Cherry. Hi, Caroline. Well, that's why we're here doing this colour along, is to help you with hair and skin. It's nice and dark down here. I probably won't use any white at the back here because it's a dark section of hair. So I'm using the black cherry and I'm going to tip it back upside down again so I can get a better angle on that hair and flick. Down and up. Perfect balance between up and down. Down and up. As I said earlier, I'm kind of using firmer pressure so I don't have to do too many layers, which does mean that I need to sharpen my pencil quite often as well because it gets blunt quickly, like it's starting to already. I know when it's getting blunt because the lines become sort of jagged and not smooth and thin. I can't handle Joanna Basford books. It's funny because when I first started colouring, that's all I had. And now I look at them and go, oh no, run away. And mandalas, they freak me out too. No, run away. Don't come near me. I don't like them. Not that I don't think they're pretty, I just can't handle sitting and doing them. Says me who's doing an extreme paint by numbers. Alright, now we've got mahogany. Oh, really? Thanks, Helen. I didn't even see it. Oh, really? That's just terrible. There you go. Gone. People have to be rude. Mahogany red now. I think that person was listening to us wax on and wax off there. Oh, that happens all the time. I blink and miss it. Alright, back upside down again. Gotta have some excitement during a live stream. Why not? Oh dear. It's my garage door. It must be my husband. Well, I hope it's my husband, otherwise my garage door's opening for no reason, and that's freaky. So he left this morning at about, he was up at about 4:30. And I get left with Nani. And of course, Shadow decides that she wants to sleep with me too, because, you know, Daddy's gone and she needs to protect me as well. So then they're fighting over me because, you know, they both can't share. So I end up pushed to the side of the bed. And then I ended up creeping out this morning and they were sleeping together and they didn't even know it. I creeped out from between them and laid on the opposite side of the bed, and they slept like that for about an hour before realizing that each other was there. It's sort of like what the fat lady said to the fat man. Okay, Shelley, do tell. Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, it is funny how Neenah gets all protective. Is like, why are you touching my mum? And then climbs on top of me like, this is my mum, go away. And then Shadow gets upset and it's like, but it's mine. It's very funny. Alright, how's she starting to look? Does that look like... Oh, let me zoom out again because that light is so bad today. She's starting to look pretty cool. I want to make sure I get rid of all of these little furry bits. Furry baby. Big Hero 6, one of my favourite movies. I don't know why random movie quotes pop into my head. Do you know, I'm really hopeless when watching movies nowadays. I think it's got worse. It did not help, Shelley. You were correct. Thanks, Kenny. Black cherry. It did not help getting a bigger bed. It's just as bad. Good thing is, when they're asleep, I can kind of shift them around a bit. It's not quite so bad. But Nani's, I reckon, about 25 kilos now, so it's really hard to move a dead weight like that. I'm just coming back over with that black cherry and just adding in a little bit more shadow. And you know what? We haven't done our giveaway. We really need to do a giveaway. Amanda won last week. And I'm hoping that everything went well and you got your image. Christine said that she'd sent it. And yeah, it's good. How's that looking? Now I've actually got a fair bit of white, like, man, it's hard to explain. Can we see it? Let's zoom in. I might need to change the focusing up. Nope, that's bad. Oh, there we go. Can you see these kind of greeny sections? I'm actually going to get rid of those with a colourless blender, or a Caran full blender. It's my favourite blender in the whole world because it doesn't actually take pigment off the paper. I find with the Prismacolor colourless blender, the Lyra one, the Splendor, all of those tend to take the pigment off the paper, like they scratch it, whereas this goes over the top and flattens it. So the Caran full blender, and let me just do a little bit here. And you can see I just did this section here, the difference between that and that there. So let me just go over that again. And that's all I'm doing, is just flattening out that fuzzy tooth that's still left there on the page. Trying to keep in the direction the hair is going, otherwise I'm just going to smudge across it and it will look strange. There we go. I got rid of some of that fuzziness in those areas. I still haven't done up here yet, so you can still see it's kind of fuzzy there. But here it's nice and smooth. It's cool, isn't it? Now, this is actually getting too small for this. And it keeps putting dust everywhere. I'm just going to take it out. Now this is just flat. You can sharpen them if you want a smaller area. Because I'm doing quite a large area here, I can leave it flat. Hi Pam, welcome. So when you use the other colourless blenders like the Prismacolor one, what actually happens is you go to flatten it, but it actually pulls the pigment off the paper and it changes the colour of it. Taking some of that pigment away makes it a little bit lighter. That's all just dust from my thing here because it was in the let me just remove the dust. There we go. Much smoother and cleaner looking now. We can do that on the green hair as well. Just follow the direction the hair's going so you don't smudge the colours into each other. So I'll show you the packet if you haven't heard of it before. And you can see, I can't remember how much it cost me. I think it was $11 for two. And this one that I've got here has lasted me a very long time. I put it straight into a pencil extender as soon as I get it now because they break very easily. Putting it straight into the pencil extender stopped it from breaking. And I was able to use it in the extender all the way to this level. Alright, I think that's done. It's a lot smoother than it was before. And I can actually see where I might want to add a little bit more white. In some of those highlights there. Just a tiny bit more. White flecks. We're done. She looks pretty cool. Let's do a giveaway. Let's just change the focus and zoom back out again. Let's do a giveaway. All right, let's do the, excuse me, giveaway rules. Christine's giving away one copy of any image from her Etsy store, any colouring page image from her Etsy store. So the winner will need to contact me with an email address and also the image that they would like and whether they would like it in grayscale or line art, because most of Christine's images are in both, so you could choose either. So for the winners in the last couple of weeks, you guys can sit this one out and let's give everybody a chance to win an image. Yeah, actually, I think Amanda ended up getting this one too, so you can do that if you would like. So let's do the rules, if I can find them. And they don't want to work. Here we go. Pick one number between 1 and 100. Only one number per person. The first person to call that number owns it. So only one number. If you call the same number as somebody else, it's tough luck. The first person to call it owns it. No numbers before the words go, go, go or after stop, stop, stop will be counted, and no chatting during the number calling as well. During the number calling or between when I pick the number. The number closest to the generated number without going over wins. If there's no winner, obviously we will redraw it. So make sure you're on top chat and make sure you're not on top chat. Make sure you're on live chat. Click on that little arrow at the top of the chat box there and make sure it's on live chat. And I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to two things. I'm going to go to random.org. This is where we'll be drawing it when it's time to draw it. And I'm going to set my alarm. So, who's ready? Ready to go? Bye, Cassie. Ready? Kelly's ready. Some people are ready. Let's do it. Who wants to win an image? Alrighty, peoples. It's time to go. I'm setting my alarm this time. You've got 1.5 minutes. Well, it might be slightly longer because obviously there's a bit of a time delay there. I'm going to keep working on this hair because, you know, there's so much to do. I'm going to go back to the top here and finish doing these bits here. Just marking all my sections out first. And then I can come back in and do my flicking. That reminds me of that movie, The Ugly Truth, with Gerard Butler and what's her name? Why can't I remember her name? Good movie though. Oh, looking good. Oh, hello. Hubby comes home and brings me a cuppa. So nice. Thank you. Woof. Coming around. Oh! That's the time, Miss Wolf. Alright. It's a stop. Let's go to random.org. Generate. Good luck, everybody. 78. Oh dear. Oh dear, Rosemary, you went over. Rats. Shelley, I think it's you. Let me do it. 78. Wait, I'm still looking. 78. Oh, Kelly got it. Yay. Well done. Yay, Kelly. Congratulations. Nice work. Kelly. All right. Kelly, if you could email me, oh my God, cheering. You can email me and send me your email address and also which image you would like to get. So from Christine Karen's Etsy store, I will pop it up here. It's also in the description as well. Pick a colouring page and I'll get it organised. If you would like to get this page at the discounted price, I'm using the grayscale one, but here's a link for both of those. Don't forget, if you use the code, wait, that didn't work. Hang on. Go back. If you use the code Faithful Girl, one word, and in capitals, you can get a discount. Hi, Renee. Night, Renee. So congratulations, Kelly. We'll do another giveaway next week. And we're probably going to have to finish the hair next week too, but we'll get a little bit more done right now. Close my phone up there and grab my cup of tea. Sip one, knit one, sip one. You can't tell I'm a crafter. Alright, let's do this top section here. So I finished this bit. So flicking up, this is black. Flicking up, flicking down. I'm really liking this colour. It's coming out really awesome. I was going to do all of the hair like this black purple colour, but I don't know, just green popped into my head and I thought we need to add green. Because that happens sometimes. These mad ideas, and they work. Just pure luck. Sometimes they don't work. Alright, coming in with some black cherry, flicking down and up. There's lots of little sections in here, so got to get all of those sections. Catherine Heigl? missed out. It didn't go through till after. Unless you were on Top Chat, maybe? I don't know. Very strange. Coming back in with mahogany red. Coming mainly through those middle sections. Flicking through still though, so we're keeping our texture. Let's go with some white. Smooth off some of those highlighted areas. Oh, I was going to show you the packet of the full blender too. So when I use, so it's a long stick, and as soon as I get it brand new out of the packet, I get that and I put it straight in my pencil extender all the way down to the bottom, so then that I'm not going to break it. It just protects it because it usually snaps right in the middle. And I have a whole box full of little pieces of Caran full blender. Tiny little pieces like this because they just kept breaking off. It's really frustrating. And then back in with the black cherry again, just back into the shadows. And oh, look at the difference between the blended off stuff with the full blender and the not blended off stuff. Now you can really see the difference. It's kind of cool, huh? Alright, I'll go in with the blender later. Let's just continue and finish some more of this hair first. The pencil extender I got from China. I was going to say Japan, but I'm like, no, China. It was like $1 for a packet of 5. I have heaps of them. I've got them on pencils inside packets. So, for example, these are my Polychromos that I'm using on an image at the moment. This stays on it. So that's a cinnamon, and it stays on it because it's too short. I think I've got one in every set of pencils nearly, where the pencils have got smaller. I've got a couple of these full blenders in extenders as well, so there's 2 extenders there. Yeah. And the Caran extender, pencil extender, Caran have one. It's red. And I brought it thinking that, you know, it's Caran, so it will fit, you know. Oh, there's 2 pencil extenders in my 3 actually in my Prismacolor set. But I brought one of these thinking that it would fit a Lumi in it. It doesn't fit a Luminance in it. So very disappointed. However, I like it. Look how tiny my yellow is because I've managed to put it into my sharpener up until this point. So I probably can't go any further because it'll sharpen my extender. But because it's so thin, it actually went into the sharpener right up to there. So now I'm going to have trouble sharpening it. I'll be getting this little guy out instead of the big one. So yeah, if you're going to buy a Caran one thinking it will fit a Lumi, it doesn't. Does not fit. It does not. I got them on eBay, by the way. I didn't actually say where I got them from. eBay. eBay's awesome. eBay's really popular here in Australia. Okay, going back to black. Let's get some more of this black part done. And I'm going to need to come around. There's some jewelry in her ear. So I'm just lining around that. I'm just lining her actual ear there as well, so I can make sure that I don't go over that section. Oh really, can he see? It's awesome. Actually, I was buying a couple of Caran d'Ache full blenders every time I went shopping because I would break them so often and I just get frustrated with them, so I just buy another one. I haven't brought one in quite some time. In fact, that packet I've got sitting in my drawer I purchased almost forever ago now, and I've just been using it to show people what I buy. So yeah, it's awesome because it's a shame when you buy a product and it doesn't last very long, so it's good to share tips and tricks like that. My black pencil is getting fuzzy again, so I'm just going to sharpen it with my little sharpener. Which doesn't like Prismas very much, so I just have to be careful. It's just called a pencil extender, wherever you can get them cheap. Let me just give you an example here. eBay. Pencil extender. There we go. eBay pencil extender, 3 pieces, metal extender, 2 pieces, metal extender, depending on where you get it from. I think I've got it set for Australia only, so it's not going to give me all the Chinese ones, but very, very cheap. I have a pretty handy hubby, so one of the sets I got didn't actually fit the Luminance pencils, so I got him to, it was really only just this top screw bit here. He just drilled it out a little bit to make it a little bit wider to fit bigger pencils. So it now fits a Luminance. It did fit a Luminance before, but it was really tight. Look, it won't hurt. It's just that means that once I put it in, I'm not really going to be taking it out until the very end. I have one, my hubby actually made me, before I got them, I was desperate, and he made me a pencil extender with some aluminium tube, and I can't get the Luminance pencil out of it now. It's completely stuck. I'll see if I can find it. Here we go. bash crash. It's stuck in there, but I can't get it out. I could probably pull it out with some pliers, but that's actually the end of the pencil right there. So if I just zoom out so you can see size-wise how tiny that is. Can't say I wasted that one. Oh wait, maybe the heat shrunk it a bit. No, it's not coming out of there. But that's just a bit of aluminium pipe. He just stuck some little slits in it and I just pushed the pencil in, and that worked fine too until I got to the end and couldn't get it out. Hi Lulu. So there you go. But this was before I found all the, you know, like I was waiting for these to come from China. It might have taken a month. That's the problem with things like that. It can take a while. Black cherry again for up here. Things we do for craft, I tell you, make our lives easier. I guess it gets our creative processes going. Change. Abby. Here's my box of bits and pieces here. These are all my pieces of white pencils. Well, there's my blenders that I never use. That's my odds and ends box with all my bits of pencils that I'll use eventually. Eventually. Mahogany red next. Hello, Lulu. Just made you mad looking at them. Long and skinny, huh? No, I still can't get it out. It's stuck in there good. It's not coming out. Why? Oh dear. Did you guys see? I finished Mary. She came out really nice. Came out really pretty. Black cherry again. can tell I love my purples. The purple pencil's tiny. This bit of hair needs something. I'm just gonna flick out with a little bit of black there. Just make it a stray bit coming down because it kind of was a little weird. It's still a little weird, but all good. All good. Got my blender. Oh, thanks, Helen. You'll make me check my peanut butter. Oh, you're eating peanut butter. Really? You missed a whole conversation about peanut butter. Who is Mary? Yeah, Mary's the Momo girl one. With the bubble. With the bubble gum. That I spent roughly 6 hours colouring. Oh, maybe make that 8 hours because I did 2 more, maybe 7 hours because I did about an hour on stream. And then think about that 6 hours or 7 hours of colouring and then 6 hours roughly of voice recording. And then encoding, uploading. It's quite a bit of work doing videos. So kudos to those that do upload. I actually stopped uploading on YouTube because of the whole kids thing. I haven't really done any videos for YouTube. They've all been on Patreon. Except for live, of course. Go back to black. Oh, what's the time? Oh, it's time to finish. Time to finish. But I'm working on. I'm working on completing my WIP pile. My work in progress pile. I don't usually have them, and I don't like having it. So I've been trying to work on those, but I don't know, guys. I seem to have less and less time during the week. It just disappears. I guess everybody's on holiday still here. We have Christmas is our long holiday, summer holidays, so it's been about 6 weeks with everybody around. And time just gets wasted with everybody around. It's not wasted, it's family time, but less gets done in the school holidays. February is going to be busy, isn't it, Shelley? We're going to have a busy time. Just making sure I come over the hair that's on her body down here as well. Thanks, Pamela. It's been very, things have kind of settled a little, and I want to find my groove there. I don't want to rush things this year. I think I did a little bit too much rushing last year. I want to try to do less of the raw videos and try to do more of the full tutorials. But that just means that it's just going to take a little bit longer in between them. But that would be giving us quality, more quality videos, hopefully. Less rushed. I mean, some people want the more the better, and that's, you know, good, and I get that too. But I felt like my work was kind of, yeah, getting rushed a bit, so I've just slowed down a bit. Now we're going to have to finish the rest off next week, and next week we'll also do the twigs and her jewelry, and we may even start on the clothes. It depends. We'll just see how we go. But we've still got 2 weeks, so plenty of time to get it all done. So there'll be a few extra colours next week. I've got that feather there too. We might do that with a bit of yellow and brown. Oh, we've got lots to do. Lots to do. We've done about more than half of the hair today, I think. She's going to be very pretty. Very pretty. No, this one definitely wasn't for kids. Abby, you're always on holidays? How long would it normally take me? Pencil tends to take me a bit longer, so it took 7 hours to do Mary, which I can grab. So she took me, yeah, it's about 7 hours. This is a little bit smaller. You can see the size difference there. This takes up the whole page. This is a little bit smaller. But yeah, usually pencils around 5 to 6 hours. But with Copic marker, which I think it's about due time I did a Copic one, generally will only take me about 2 to 3 hours, depending on what's in it, how much detail, whether I add pastels or pencils and things like that to it as well. So it depends. But yeah. The only thing with these is with having them that long is that then you've got to encode the videos and voice over them, which takes time. But yeah, she's looking awesome. I love it when they're finished. We'll give her, I'm not sure, there's skin in here, look at this. You see that? That's a bit of skin. Anyhow, I think I want to go gold in here because of her eyes, so we might use a similar colour that we've used in the eyes for this bit, but we need to fill in skin. Usually I miss the ears, but I've missed the necklace here. You want to colour your hair that red? It's kind of a purpley colour, isn't it? Purpley red. It's nice. And it goes well with that green. I'll scan it and I'll pop it up in the group so you can check it out then. I know you can see the actual colour, since everybody can see differently on their screens. But that's it. I'm done. Bye, guys. See you on Monday. Monday, I got a few books to flip through. Got one from Nathaniel Wake. I've got one from Grazia Salvo. I got one from somewhere else. Somewhere else. So I'll do a bit of a flip through and I'll colour something on Monday. I don't know what yet. We'll see. We will see. Most likely will be Copics because I miss them. I love my babies. Bye guys. Thank you so much for today's fun, and thank you for everyone for following and subscribing. Thank you to my mods for keeping track of the long skinny people, and bye. Mwah. Love you all.